Connect. Capitalize. Go.
I'm here with Brandi Orr. She's a recent college graduate, and she's on the show right now. She's in the Tampa, Florida area, originally from Texas. So first of all, Brandi, hope everybody in Texas is okay. Got this hurricane and, tropical storm now, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so you've been in Tampa for a couple of years now. Tell us a little bit about you, yourself, and what you do.
All right. Well, like you've already said, I am from Texas, and I came to Tampa in 2015 to finish up my bachelor's in interior design. So I finished that the past 2 years, and I graduated in April of this year. And I was able to secure a position at a pretty nice architecture firm within about 2 months. So I was happy about that.
Wow. So where'd you get that bachelor's from? Let's give a shout out to your university.
Their name is Sanford Brown. They have a campus in Tampa.
Sanford Brown. And what was your major?
Interior design.
Interior design. Okay. Now, this is the area where my wife does not let me do anything in when it comes to interior design, decorating, or anything. How did you know that was going to be the path that you were going to take when you were a kid?
Yes, I've known for a while, I guess. First, I wanted to be a professional soccer player. Then I was going to be a chef on the space station because my dad is in sci-fi and was a computer engineer for NASA and everything. But then in about middle school, I had been playing a video game, actually, called The Sims. And you get a lot of freedom to create a home and customize it the way you want. And that really led me on the path of this is something that I want to do. My father gave me the best advice when I was a kid. He told me, if you can find something that you absolutely love doing, you'll never work a day in your life. So I started thinking pretty early, well, what is it that I like to do that I can make money at?
That makes sense. So we're talking to Brandi Orr right here. If you like what you're hearing, use those social share buttons right now. Share this audio with your family, friends, network. Tell everyone. Now, Brandi, interior design, do you focus more so with residential architecture or commercial?
Right now, my job is commercial.
Okay,
I'm actually working on banks right now.
Banks, really?
Yes.
Let's see. Can you tell us about the safe room? No, I'm just kidding.
It sounds a lot cooler than it is.
You've been doing it a little while now, and what have you learned so far in your first few months that you never expected prior to now?
Oh, goodness, that I never expected? That's a tricky question. I expected to, have a pretty good personality with most of the other employees. I get along pretty well with them, but I guess I didn't expect my boss to be as personal as he is. Sometimes he's not. He doesn't ever cross the boundaries, of course, but he is very supportive, and I actually appreciate the way he is. He is very family-orientated almost. He keeps it very professional, but he has a genuine concern for all of us on a personal level and make sure that we are all constantly growing and pushing ourselves to do our best. So it's great to be in that kind of environment.
Pretty amazing. So now that, in that industry, because there's so much detail that's necessary, I'm guessing that there are also some people that are not as personable as others. Am I off base by a fair margin?
Oh, sure. I mean, I have thankfully not had the unsatisfactory pleasure of working for anybody impossible. That's the best word I can come up with. But absolutely, I mean, there are some untrustworthy, and there's always, there are a lot of legal implications in my job, and certain organizations are always posting people who have been fined and all things like that. So it's constantly happening. So it's always got to be conscious of those the legalities of what we can do and what we can't do, who's responsible for what.
We're talking to Brandi Orr. She's an interior designer, commercial right now in Tampa, Florida. She's a recent college graduate, originally from the Texas area. So, Brandi, I'd like to ask our guests just some questions to really get an insight into the way you think. So the first question I always like to ask is, what defines you more? Are you more results-oriented or detail-oriented?
I would say detail-oriented, but the details make the result.
I can see that coming from that background. You cannot mess up anything when it comes to interior design, architecture, and engineering, things like that, right? So when it comes to making, like, major decisions, are you the type of person that prefers official data, or are you okay with a simple internet search?
I haven't had the pleasure of making, crucial decisions yet, but one day I hope to do that. And right now I use just general internet searches, but going to school definitely offered me more professional avenues. I have, I remember contacts and reps from companies, so making those connections in school have furthered my connections outside of school, and that has helped.
So you said the key word, making the connections. How serious were you? How far would you go to make sure you could make a new connection when you were in school? How important was it for you?
Oh, my gosh, that was one of the most important things for me, because I knew it was very important for my particular profession, and especially starting out and being new to the area. I don't have a lot of friends or know a lot of people already here in Tampa, being from Texas. So I quickly recognized that my head professor was had a big presence locally and knew a lot of professionals in the area, and I was super excited to have access to her brain and her connections. She was a big help going to school and making those connections. But I did anything that I could to go to events or go to little activities that were happening to meet professionals.
Sounds like you took it seriously, because a couple months after graduating, you landed a job. I know some people that were not that serious, and they're looking for jobs even outside of the industry 5, 6, 7 months after graduation. So would that be your number one tip for somebody getting close to graduation?
Yes, that is one major, maybe not the only, but definitely a big, important, way up there.
We've been talking to Brandi Orr right here on the podcast. Make sure you use those social share buttons and share this audio with your family, friends, network. Brandi is a Texas native. Right now she's an interior designer in the commercial arena in Tampa, Florida. So, Brandi, would you like to give the listeners a way to find out more about you or connect with you online?
I do have a LinkedIn account, and my LinkedIn account will direct you to a student website that shows most of my student work that I did in school. You can find my LinkedIn account with my email address, which is BLORR89@yahoo.com. BLORR89@yahoo.com. That's how you find our guests, Miss Brandi Orr. Brandi, thanks for taking your time out here on the podcast for business. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Connect. Capitalize. Go.